Exterminator 2. This might be the worst movie I've ever seen. Okay, well let's get into it. Exterminator 2 is from 1984. It lasts 1 hour 30 minutes and it stars no one. It's terrible, it's cheap, it's nasty, it is horrible. Well, Exterminator, right, this is a movie you don't need to have seen the first movie to get. Basically, a guy decides to go out in New York City, dressed up in a mask and with a flamethrower and other weapons, and clean up the streets. Sounds cool. Sounds great. But it's not. It's really, really bad.
Bad. Like really, really bad.
So we open up in the crime-ridden streets of New York City. It's night time. There's a little mom and pop convenience store being held up. The teen bad guys decide just to murder the old man and woman who own the shop. Oh.
Yeesh.
Run out and they're face to face with the Exterminator. Yeah, and he just sets them on fire. Only one gets away. Now this is a canon movie. I love canon movies. By the way, if you don't know what I mean when I say canon movies, and you don't know why there's a section on this YouTube channel called Canon Movies. Canon Movies was a studio run by Golan and Globus in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 90s. And they made some of the best, worst movies ever. Some greats and some not so greats. Anyway, so the Exterminator is this guy, John Eastland. In the first movie, his buddy was beaten up and killed by a gang, so that's what led to him going and seeking vengeance. Like Deathwish, yeah. Not as good, but not as well executed as the Deathwish movies. Right. We cut to the hideout of the gang, some of whose members robbed that convenience store. We see the leader, X, and X learns of this Exterminator character and he wants him dead, and he puts the word out, yeah. And then I see John without his Exterminator mask and he's sitting in like I think it's a strip club. I think so, he's watching one of the dancers, yeah, and he's like, he just goes home with her. He gives her like a smile, she gives him a smile, she joins him at the bar afterwards, next thing you know, they're going home together. He's a cut neither. He is. This is Caroline, the dancer. Yeah. Meanwhile, X is formulating a plan. He wants his gang to take over New York City. He wants to make $100 million by selling drugs to the mafia. Yeah. So, that's what they do. Get the drugs, arrange a meeting with the mafia, and they get more and more drugs each time they meet with the mafia, eventually culminating in them having $100 million. Right, and these mafia characters, oh my goodness, wait till you see them. They're like the least mafia you'll ever see. They're not exactly James Gandolfini or Marlon Brando. They're rubbish. Get the initial amount of money they need to start buying drugs. The gang hold up an armoured car. Yeah, they're not wearing masks or anything. They take the driver and they tie him to the train tracks and let a train hit him. That's right, there's no need for that. They carry him all the way down to the subway, miles and miles, and just to execute him. Yeah, poor guy. Yeah. While they're robbing the armoured truck though, they also shoot down a police helicopter, Shanghai. Yeah. And it crashes to earth, and the pilot's lying there on fire. They just watch him burn and had a good old laugh about it. They take all the money, but they're eventually chased off. With the money? Yeah, they still get the money, but they're eventually chased off by a guy in a garbage truck. But then we see there's a lookout on the street and he's up a tree. This young guy, he's like lookout for the gang. He's like, look, police are coming, let's go. But the gang has already been chased off by the garbage truck. That's right, and then the Exterminator appears with his flamethrower and just sets fire to this young guy in the tree. Yeah, turns out this is X's brother. Uh-oh. The speech X gave earlier though about taking over the city, that was not too bad. That's basically a rip-off of The Warriors. Cyrus gives a speech at the beginning of a movie called The Warriors, and it's pretty much a more intelligent version of this speech.
Can you count, suckers?
Anyway, the next day, John meets up with an old buddy. Yeah, BG. Seriously, that's his name, BG. And it just so happens BG is the driver of the garbage truck from last night. Yeah. To go to the strip club together, have a few drinks. Yeah, DG turns up and he's like, look, I've got these two winning. Just two winning, isn't it? Can they come home with us? John says, well, actually, I see that dancer on stage. She's coming home with me. Yeah, so DG's like, right, see you later, girls. And he just lets his 2 dates go.
Fool!
So BG, John, and Caroline get in the garbage truck and drive home.
How romantic.
Meanwhile, now that X and his gang have got all these drugs, they need to make sure they're pure, they need someone to test it on. Yeah, I thought he was going to say, right, what are you gang members? I know, son, you like drugs. Why don't you just test it out? Son on must like drugs. Yeah, but instead of that, he sends one of his minions out. Yeah, this guy in roller skates called Slow Motion. So Slow Motion skates around the street and he sees a couple leaving a theatre or something. He races up to them. I thought he was going to snatch her handbag. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to take her purse or her handbag or something. But no, he takes her. He takes this lady up, puts her over his shoulder and just runs off to the gang hideout. That's right. And they use her as a guinea pig for the drugs. What? That's terrifying. When I was growing up, we were always told there's going to be these clowns in a white van, and if they get you, they pull you into the white van and they'll inject you with drugs and you'll become a drug addict. And that was a scary time to be a kid in 90s Britain. Now on the drive home, BG decides, you know what, I'll just walk. John, you and Caroline can have my truck for the night for some reason. So he gets out and he just walks home without those 2 in.
Fool!
John and Caroline take the truck to Caroline's apartment. But some gang members see the truck and they recognise it as the one that scared them off the night before. So they go and report back to X.
Well, that can't be good.
And then we get a scene of John and Caroline making love. It's so strangely shot. It's a bit weird. It's a bit nuts. Yeah. The next day, Caroline and John are at the park. She's a professional dancer, obviously. So she does some dancing. She sees some street dancers. She joins in with them. They're having a great time. John's having a lovely day. Yeah, the gang has teeped them. The gang has started them and said they're the people who drive that truck and scared us off the other night. So they chase Caroline. Yeah, I don't know how Caroline and John actually get separated in the park, but 1 minute they're both together. Next minute she's running off from this gang and they catch her and they beat her up. Badly. Yeah, they do. Even X is there to give her a kicking.
You can't show that tape.
So after that, we cut to Caroline leaving hospital. John and BG are there to help her go home. She's now in a wheelchair, but she's a dancer. Oh, the irony. What a clever script. It's not. In between clips of him helping Caroline with her rehab, we see clips of John as the Exterminator, out with BG. They're hunting down the gang. They take one gang member and put him in the back of the garbage truck and slowly start to crush him for information. He says, listen, I'll tell you, I'll tell all, don't crush me. So they don't. And he says, the gang are meeting the mafia for a big drugs deal down at Tier 3. Yeah, so they go to Pier 3, with that guy still in the back of the garbage truck. There's a bit of a shootout. They've also modified the garbage truck to put a big sort of snowplow in front of it, so they can just barrel through anything and everything in their way. Yeah, hardly is it. Yeah, that's true. But they bust in this impenetrable truck. For some reason, BG decides, I'm going to climb out the truck and hang off the passenger side door so I can be a massive target. And that's what happens. He is a massive target and he's shot dead. Yes, he is.
Come on. No one could have seen this coming.
The Exterminator manages to take out a few of the gang members. Others run off. The Mafia are either killed or run off. And the Exterminator, John, manages to get the bag of money. $100 million. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Oh no, wait, I keep saying $100 million, don't I? Yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's $500,000. Really? Yeah. You're so stupid. I just had it in my mind it was $100 million. It's $500,000. What a difference.
Go!
That's still like 10 times as much as the budget of this navy. Probably. Actually, as the remaining members of the Mafia are escaping in their limo, John manages to throw a grenade inside it and blows it up. So I guess that's the Mafia taken care of. So now everyone's scarpered. John is left alone with his best friend's body. He decides to wrap the body up and then just leaves. He goes and he phones Caroline, throwing a payphone, and she's dead. Yeah, her apartment is trashed. We see her lying naked, dead with a big X on her back. The next day, John heavily modifies the truck even further. Yeah, and that gangnender's still in the back. What's his name? His name is Eyes. So Eyes is still in the back of the truck, but John modifies the truck to make it even more impenetrable. Eyes manages to get away though, and he gets back to the actual hideout. He reports to X, and X says, "Thanks for telling me. Now I must kill you." So he kills him for being a grass. So the truck and John are at Pier 3, that's where he's been modifying it and stuff. The gang descend and they surround John, but he just sets them on fire. He throws petrol over them, sets them on fire, and takes out half them like that. He takes out more by driving through them, shooting some, blowing some up. They're teenagers, Nate. Yeah, most of them are teenagers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But eventually, it's just X and the Exterminator, and they're stalking each other along the walkways of this warehouse. Yeah. And John has the bag of money, or drugs, or whatever it is. It's not 100 million anyway. No, but he has the bag. X wants it. He also wants John dead.
Understandably.
Because he's killed all his mates. Yeah. So John's trying to taunt X and get him working for the money. He's making him chase him. Yeah, there's one scene, right, where they're on a completely straight walkway, nowhere else to go, and X is like keep behind John the whole way. He could shoot him easily. He could have shot him in the back of the head at any point during that scene. This is so bad. Now John has been wounded during this whole scene, so eventually he manages to lose X, but X finds a trail of blood and he knows John is badly wounded, possibly even lying somewhere dead. He finds the bag which John must have dropped in his weakened state. Yeah, right, and then he opens the bag slowly. He's like, oh, is it going to be no drugs? Is it going to be no money? Is it going to be 100 million? No, it's not. Right, okay. Whatever it is, it's worth $500,000 to him, but he's happy to have his bag. He unzips it, opens it up, and bang! It's a grenade. It blows in sky high. We see him exploded, yeah, well, we see a dunny on fire. And then we see his body impaled. He's been blown sky high and then he's landed on some sort of spike. So long, X. So long, indeed. John's fine. He walks off into the sunset as credits roll. The end. Absolute rubbish. Honestly, don't even watch this. It's not worth your time. Don't even watch some scenes think, oh, that sounds funny, that sounds good. It's not, it's just really bad. It's just really cheap, and the acting's terrible, and the story's terrible, and everything about it's terrible. Okay, we'll say what you really feel. I did? I don't know. This is a movie I used to see the poster for all the time in the video shop. They always had The Exterminator, the first movie, on VHS, and I always thought, oh, I should rent that. I never did. I bet you're glad. Well, I'm glad I never spent my pocket money on that back in the day. But now we've seen The Exterminator and The Exterminator 2. No, I've not seen the first one. Right, well, it's basically this, except it's, it's basically this. Oh, forget it, I'm not watching that. Don't recommend it, I won't. But that was Exterminator 2 from 1984. Hit like, hit subscribe. We'll see you next time. Oh, almost forget the tagline. Oh, the tagline. What's the tagline for this movie? In The Exterminator, he made the streets safe. All has been quiet until now. It's New York City, mate. It's never quiet.